I love, by the way, that I, for the first time, heard it in full when you were in my car on Halloween.
When everyone in the car was drunk.
It was a What's up, guys? Nick Major here with Idobi Radio, the internet's #1 station for pop punk and alternative music. We're 24/7. You can tune in to hear music, interviews, live performances, and more with all of your favorite artists. So be sure to head to idobi.com or download our free app and start listening today. Start listening to artists like American Teeth, who I'm about to sit down and chat with. He recently just dropped his debut album, We Should Be Having Fun, and he was a brand new artist coming up right as the pandemic hit. So I want to chat with him about all of this and more. So stick around, stay tuned, and this is my chat with American Teeth.
It's just one of those days when I wake up too late with the sun in my face and I'm wasted.
Good to see you. We just literally were hanging out on Halloween.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we can actually properly sit down, which that was unexpected. I didn't know I was going to run into you at the event. We were at No Vacancy. Cool-ass bar out in Hollywood.
But that was the first time I'd been there.
Oh, you never been to No Vacancy?
No, so I didn't know about the whole walk in the door.
So did you walk in and you're like, this is a small-ass bar. There's just a bed and a woman.
Yeah, I just walked in and I looked at her. I was like, hey. And she was just, and then she did her thing or whatever. But for like half a second, I was like, am I in the right? Yeah, it's just the vibe.
And to clarify, No Vacancy, it's this bar out in Hollywood. And when you enter like in this small hotel room. And there's like a woman on a bed. She pulls a lever. The bed moves. And then you walk down the staircase and you enter it. And that was awesome.
It's really cool, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was so sick, and I loved it because you were there with Cameron, and you were there with Jordan, and they've been friends for a long time, and I know you've been collabing with those guys on some tracks. So I was like, damn, this is all coming full circle because I knew I was going to be chatting with you. So with that though, I know you just dropped the new album. You've been releasing songs for the last couple years, but I don't know too much about your history, about you, about how American Teeth came to be. So I know you're from Maine, but you came out a couple years ago to LA. What brought you to LA? How long ago was that? And then kind of where did American Teeth come from? Because I know that you also started collabing with Colin, and that's really, it seems like, kind of where this sparked from.
Yeah, so I grew up in Maine, in Portland, Maine. And I actually, before I moved to LA, which was 5.5, 6 years ago at this point, I was living in Chicago. So I lived in Chicago for a while, and I was flying back and forth between Chicago and LA to do sessions with other people. And one of the first my first like session with other writers and stuff was with Colin Little Hurt, who I think you also know.
Little Hurt, of course.
And that's how we met in LA for the first time. But that was like before I had even fully moved out here. So yeah, I was just collaborating a bunch, and I ended up deciding I was just going to leave Chicago and be here, and it felt like a better place for me, like, to be in the scene and everything. And like, Chicago was great. It was a good place for me. Like, I was like busking on the streets when I was in Chicago.
Nice.
And like in the subway, and like playing like sandwich shops like multiple times a day.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Like doing that whole grind. So playing cover songs and stuff like that. And then I was writing on my own, and I had like a small group that I was collaborating in Chicago. But when I came to LA and started working with other writers and producers in LA, I was like, oh, okay, this feels more like my community. People like want to make like pop music, and there's like this whole like scene. This was kind of like, I guess like the kind of emo scene hadn't really started like re-emerging again in a big way like it is now.
Which it has. Yeah, I was going to say, which as of recently, I feel like it's really started to kind of kick back into gear.
Totally. But I think I started already finding those types of people who had similar tastes in music and in writing style, and like Colin and like Cameron eventually, and Jordan. And so I decided to move out here, and I started working with a bunch of different writers, producers, and working with other artists. And then I met Colin Britton, who did the record with me for American Teeth. Our first session was, I think my manager told me that Colin was looking for somebody to come in who was a singer and a writer to come in with him and Monkey from Korn.
That's sick as hell.
And like I didn't need to hear more. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to that. That's incredible.
What, you have to sign your life. I don't care. I'm in. You're like, whatever it is.
I just want to hang with Monkey. That was kind of crazy. I think Monkey was like wanting to do kind of this, like, he had this idea, I think, to do I want to say he wanted to do like a comic book, and each chapter was going to be a different character, and each character was going to be a singer, and there was going to be a song for each chapter of the comic book.
Okay.
That was like, I don't know if I made this up or if
Did that ever happen?
No, definitely not.
That never happened?
Not to my knowledge, unless it's something he did on his own. But
okay.
Regardless, I had a great time hanging out in the studio with him and Colin. And we wrote this song, which was like super crazy. And like it was just like Colin on a Moog bass synth, and me like singing on a SM7B with like, you know, like a studio mic, and we just kind of almost freestyled it.
Yeah, was this what became Chemicals?
This became To Be Loved, which is the last track on the album.
The Slow Boy.
Wish I could, but I'm scared to be all alone in the arms of eternity.
The Slow Boy.
The Slow Boy
like,
on the new album.
Really poetic, like kind of spiritual.
Is that the first
one.
thing that you guys ever collabed on together? Was what ended up being the last song on the album? Oh, that's crazy, because I assumed Chemicals was the first thing that you guys
that was the first song that we said this could be a thing. This could be a project.
Oh.
Babe, you and me just for the weekend. Bloodshot, eyes in the deep end. That's alright, we don't need a reason. All my hands on your body.
You guys have been putting out stuff, I guess, since 2019. I think September 2019 is when Chemicals came out. And I'm sure that was all exciting. So by the way, though, so from Chicago and before you came out here, you've always been a musically interested person, obviously. And was it writing sessions that you were interested in doing, writing, producing for artists? What was the side of the music world that you were looking or trying to get in on?
Well, I was always an artist. I was always like a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
That's kind of the background I came from, the more singer-songwriter, like acoustic solo artist. So that was always at the core of what I was doing. So for me, it was mostly always just like, this is my artist project. And I went through a couple different types of sounds, and I tried different kind of like lanes and genres and stuff, and it always ended up being like a mixture of all these things. Still is that way.
Yeah. You're refining it a little bit,
right?
No, but so you guys started dropping stuff in 2019, and that's kind of when American Teeth happened,
right?
And then this thing called COVID-19 hit in 2020.
I've heard of it.
You may have heard about it. But so this was like, it seems like just after you were kicking off the project. I'm sure you're getting excited. I think did the Dreamers tour happen?
Yeah, that was the first tour for American Teeth, and the last one before the pandemic.
Because then the pandemic hit. So it was crazy because you're starting this new project. I'm sure you're so thrilled and excited about it. And then literally none of us has ever experienced something like what was about to happen, which was the world truly shut down. The music industry, the live music industry, was probably one of the most affected industries.
It flatlined. It was super frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I was just getting so hyped to like get on the road and like get things going. So obviously that's really frustrating. As a writer, I knew that I could still write music, so I was like, okay, I know I can at least still do that. The collaborative aspect of it became a little more difficult, and I had to learn to write on Zoom, which is super unnatural and super fucking weird.
Yeah, we were talking about Zoom interviews before we kicked this off, too, and it's just weird how so many aspects of life turned into Zoom.
Yeah.
But go on, though.
Yeah, so it's, so I was just determined to still be making music and still creating and still be creating and trying to pick up other mediums of art. Like I started like painting and doing things for fun and just to see if I could, it would inspire me to just be creative and continue to kind of push the boundaries for myself. But it was definitely frustrating because I love to perform, and that was like what I was most excited about with this new project with American Teeth, was to like get out, meet people. I had just come off that tour with Dreamers, and it was like super fun. I met a ton of people. I felt like I like made a lot of new connections with fans and stuff like that. And then it was just like, well,
immediate stop.
Yeah.
But at least you did spend that time being so productive. I mean, because we're still kind of just coming out of this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
And through there, you have a new album that you put out. And you did put out a lot of songs throughout the pandemic that ended up on the album. And was that the plan all along? Was it to put out an album with these songs? Or did it start to get to the point that you were just releasing songs here and there that you're like, I just got to put these things together and with some other unreleased songs as well and just put out a proper full release. Because would a full album have happened in this time frame if COVID didn't happen? Would these songs have happened if COVID didn't happen?
I think yes, honestly, but I think it allowed for more time to like play around and kind of like try different things. Because Colin and I have written so many, and I've written so many songs with other people too that I brought in to Colin and was like, yo, what about this? And we put it together and made it our thing. And so there's a bunch of songs that just didn't make the cut, but it was very important to both of us that we were continuing to put music out consistently no matter what. And then it was more like we wanted to put out a body of work. And I think especially with like the sound that we have for American Teeth, I think it's helpful to hear everything in a sequence and like in context amongst all of the songs. Like I feel like the music makes a little more sense, and there's a bit more of like a understanding of like the sonic world of American Teeth when you can hear them all together. Because it is like pretty genre fluid, and it like kind of like bounces around. I
love, by the way, that I, for the first time, heard it in full when you were in my car on Halloween.
When everyone in the car was drunk.
It was I feel like you and me were up front just kind of taking in the fact that I had a car full of drunk people. Yeah. I wanted to listen to the album, and it was Halloween night. There were cops on horses all around us.
Screaming in the streets.
People screaming at the cops in the streets. Hollywood traffic. But it was really awesome to hear that for the first time next to you. So I've probably heard it now in full 10 times or so since then, because I was like, I gotta actually listen to this thing in full, especially because I knew that we were going to be chatting about it. But there's collabs on it with people that I really, really love, and like Fim and Dwayne, I think that they're great. And actually, the first time that I met you was out at your Sick Art Show.
What's up? It's American Teeth. Welcome to the Sick Art Show. We've got a great crowd here. It's about to be a fun-ass night.
You were talking about how kind of in the pandemic you picked up some art stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so you did a music video premiere for Sick, and that's the track that has Fim and it has Dwayne. I went out there and filmed a little recap video, and I was so excited to do that because that was actually like my first event back out in the world as COVID was starting to as restrictions were starting to get lifted. And I told you I met Mothika that night.
Oh, nice.
So that's where I met Mothika. She came in here and had a chat.
That's right.
So that event was sick, but it made me realize, like, oh, you worked with Fim. We had her in here with Grandson before doing a performance.
Sick.
And how did you get her and Dwayne on a track? Because I think Sick was sick. And you got the cool music video for it. You had a full-on event for the music video premiere for it. So how did that come to be?
I'm sick. I keep running back to the habits I kicked. I've been getting high from the sugar on my lips. Probably gonna die, but I'm never gonna quit. Never gonna quit. I'd rather be.
Sick was the first song I ever wrote with Fem. We had a session booked. It was myself, her, and Colin, and we made that song the first time we ever met. So that was kind of like, it's funny because I feel like I have beginner's luck always with songs. Like the first time I work with someone, I feel like sometimes is
just magic.
We haven't written together since then, or maybe we have. Don't quote me on that. But that was like such a special moment, and then we made that song, and it was like, oh, this is amazing. I want to put this out. And she had already done her verse and everything, so we were like, oh, let's make it a collab. But we did have like an empty verse, and we were like, it'd be cool to have another artist on this. And I didn't know Dwayne personally, but Colin had worked with Dwayne a few times before, so he had already had a relationship with him. And my friend Eric Rojas, who's a video director.
Yeah, I know he's done some of your stuff.
He's done some of his stuff too, and my stuff. And so we had a few mutual connections, and we reached out to Dwayne, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll come in, and he wrote his verse.
Sorry, mama, I like drugs, but don't blame it on home. The world's sick and made me this way. 12 on the enemy clothes. I know what the hell you look for. I know something that you don't know. Should have been rich, but I won't quit. I was born post, so give me my.
And I caught him at Palais Royale show with Mothika and Dwayne, and that dude live, he brings some energy. Like, he was wild. I was like, this is a fun dude. And on top of that, you do so many collabs as well. Because you had Royal and the Serpent. You were on Chips, which I had just met at Emo Night Vegas. I was chatting with Ryan from Royal, and she is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, that girl is so dope. And you guys, that song that you did together was dope. So this quarantine, it's really been a lot of you really being able to kind of collab with other artists and be productive and get a lot of work done. So that's like wild, and that's good. And I hope that it's been setting you up for a good spot moving forward in regards to the world opening back up. You can tour, you can have all this music stuff out there. But the new album, though, it's out.
We should be having fun.
We should be having fun. That's the name of the album.
Yep.
And why should we be having fun?
The whole thing behind We Should Be Having Fun was like, I actually came up with that title like a year ago in the midst of the lockdown and the pandemic, and I just had this, it felt like just like, obviously there was this collective feeling of like, you know, angst, like we're all just, it felt like we were trapped, and it felt like we were, you know, completely isolated. And I felt like I was really tapped into like the you know, overall feeling of everybody was feeling, which is like, you know, I want to be out, I want to be back together with people and like having fun and doing this. So that's kind of where I think that's where that came from, because I wrote that down in my phone at some random point in time about a year ago. And I remembered it was in there recently when I was kind of listening to everything and putting together the track list for the album and deciding what songs I wanted to put on and the order and all this. And I was like really thinking about like, I don't know that there's like a concept throughout all of the songs, but there was a feeling throughout the entire time that we were making these songs. And for me, it was, I want to be having fun. We should be having fun.
Do you have a favorite song off of the album, one that you're excited about, stoked about the most?
I'm currently really stoked about Talk, because it's like the black sheep.
Oh yeah, album. Okay.
it's definitely the black sheep.
I feel like you put out so many music videos, but there's not one for this. So is there going to be one?
Yes, that's the next one.
Woo! Okay. Is it every song on this album going to have a music video by the end of it?
No. Well, probably not. No.
Like, I don't know. It might.
There might be more that I haven't made videos for that may end up having video.
You did have the album release party last week in LA, and it was at the same spot where you had the sick art show. Yeah. And that place, I was bummed I couldn't go out there because it was packed. Like, I saw the videos that you had there. You built this awesome big volcano, because the cover of the album, it is a volcano. How was that? How was the that? And I think you performed some songs there and stuff.
Well, this is the first like album I've ever put out, obviously for this project, but in general, it's like really the first album I put out as an artist. I made like a mixtape by myself like 6 or 7 years ago for some other stuff. But outside of that, I've never really had a full project. So I was like, I really wanted to like celebrate it and be with other people, especially because like that's kind of the whole theme around it, is like being with people and kind of like this sense of community and bringing people together with music and things like that. And so
yeah, we should all be having fun.
Yeah, exactly. And so kind of put that idea together. With my friend Naz and my friend Olive, did a majority of the actual building of that volcano,
which you just so gracefully took down as well. You showed me that on Halloween. You're like, look at me just destroy this thing.
Yeah. I posted like a TikTok of it too. But yeah, I basically just like karate kicked the.
Yeah, I didn't know you were a martial arts enthusiast as well. That was incredible. But what do you got planned after this now? It seems like we're finally going to be able to start playing shows. You just had a show with the Maine. I think you've played a couple shows since the pandemic has kind of lifted restrictions. Was that the only one, or have you done some other ones?
I played Aftershock Festival in Sacramento.
First festival.
Like a month ago.
Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sick to be part of.
I don't have anything locally. Well, there is one little local thing that I'm doing. It's this Geo Metro party thing I'm going to do in November, like in a couple weeks probably.
It's already November, by the way, which is crazy. This year has flown by.
Which is wild. I keep thinking it's October. But no, I actually don't have any tours booked at the moment, but I'm, fingers crossed, hopefully going to do a tour in like the UK and Europe
that's sick.
next
That'd
year.
Be awesome to get kind of across the pond to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Can I ask the most generic thing? Why American Teeth? What does that mean? This is the name that you have decided to present yourself to the world with. What is it?
There's no meaning behind it. I just literally thought that combination of the two words was really cool.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
There's no meaning to it. I could always, I actually could just sit here and give you come
no,
up with a
because you already
meaning,
said
but
there's no meaning.
There's
so
no meaning.
no, but that's good.
But there is a
It sounds
tie to
good.
my life, like where, like, I don't know, like this is weird, but like when I was growing up, so I had braces and stuff like that, and I used to go to the orthodontist or whatever. But at the time, my dad was really sick with cancer. He was like dying of cancer, and the orthodontist like knew that my mom was like basically going to be a single mom. So all of my bills for like my orthodontist bills, which are very expensive, and braces and stuff, where he just decided he wasn't going to charge my family for any of that, for me and my sister.
Oh, wow.
Which is like, I know I told you there was no meaning behind it, but like recently I thought about that and I was like, that's actually a weird, crazy just piece of my life that is maybe worth
That's actually
sharing.
almost a really personal meaning behind it in
Yeah.
reality. Because your dad, he passed away in 2002.
Yeah.
Was it from
Yep.
cancer?
Mhm.
And that's just crazy that you said there's no meaning behind it. But then when you put that kind of story behind it,
Right.
that's actually inadvertently like a really heartfelt story behind it and stuff. I really love the new album. I'm happy that the pandemic throughout it, rather than starting a new project and being kind of turned away with the world being shut down, you used it as an opportunity to kind of really do what you love, which was to write, to collaborate with awesome artists,
Yeah.
to put out a full album together. And it sounds like maybe hopefully you'll be overseas, but for now I think the main focus is you got a new album out.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. We just got to keep running that for a while.
Yeah. So congrats on that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
I'm
It feels
hyped.
good to have it out.
Is there anything else that you want to cover that I didn't chat about in this, or did we cover enough
We
ground?
covered
to
a
get something
lot.
out
We
of?
covered a surprising amount of things.
Woo! All right, cool. I think we got a lot. But I
feel
was
good.
stoked. Ever since I went to the art show, to the sick art show thing, I've been eager and wanting to chat with you, and it seemed like the perfect time because a full album dropped.
It is the perfect time.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for chatting, man.
Yeah,
And
thank you, bro.
let's fucking do it. Come on, let's hit it at the end there too. There
Bam.
we go. But yeah, dude, American Teeth, no meaning behind the name, although we clearly dug into the actual meaning behind the name today because we are just having deep conversations. So
We excavated the real.
we did. We actually dug into what it was. We found it.
Excavated.
We excavated it just like a bunch of whatever
Dino hunters or something.
hunter-tologists. But dude, awesome. Stoked with the new album. Stoked that you were able to put that out there. And can't wait to see what you do in the future. But for now, I hope everyone checks out the album. And Tommy, get that plant out of my face. All right, cool. But cool. Take it easy, man. Thanks.
Thank you, man.